All right, so we're talking about the biography, and the question is, of course, why is biography so popular? Why is it so popular? And I think it's, yeah, go ahead. No.
People are curious about what they do with their lives and how they came to be. So people are interested in seeing how other people do it.
Yeah, I mean, you hear about, especially famous people, right? You hear about famous people. You kind of wonder, do they, is their life like yours, or do you understand it? Do you have any point of contact with them? But you just want to know more about them because they're famous, right? And like I said before, a lot of times that's a little bit because Hollywood's kind of lazy, or they want a sure thing, however you want to put it. So if you make a biography of about a very famous person that people already like, then you're pretty much assured you're going to have a winner. You're going to get an audience. Whereas if you say, made a biography of me, no one would show up. Nobody cares. So you make a biography of Kobe Bryant, boom, you're going to have millions of people show up. So what are they going to do? They're not going to make a film about me. That's the bottom line. I've just resigned myself to that. Now, have you been reading or watching any biographies? We said last night there was the Oscars, right? And Judy won. The actress who played Judy Garland won. So that's one. And I thought maybe the Ford and Ferrari thing is based upon real people, but I haven't checked that one out. I'm trying to think of what else. Joker, that was a biography. I watched Joker. The one thing about watching Joker that made me feel just a little bit better about my own sanity. I feel like maybe I'm not as strange as I thought I once was, because Joker, just a little more strange than I am. That guy. Did you watch that film?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm not saying I necessarily recommend it, but he was. I think he was just misunderstood. If you give him a chance. Anyway, that was a biography, sort of. Origin story about Joker. But, some people think Joker's not a real person, like I do. So, but have you been reading or watching any biographies? Let me ask you this. What's the last film and or book you read that was a biography, you would label as a biography? Yeah.
Surprised by Joy, C.S. Lewis's book.
Okay, Surprised by Joy. Okay. About his wife, Joy? No. It's not about his wife, right?
That's where the title comes from.
Yeah, well, his wife's name was Joy. He was surprised by her. Let me go to him first. He had his hand up. No, you retracted it. Okay, we'll go to you.
The Dirt, the story.
The Dirt?
Yeah, about Motley Crue.
By who?
About Motley Crue.
Motley Crue. I thought it was about a guy named Joe Dirt. You ever see him?
Yeah.
That was a good movie. Motley Crue has a biography film?
Yes, sir.
It's called The Dirt.
I think it's on Netflix,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, it's on Netflix. Okay. So did you like that? Did you know anything about Motley Crue ahead of time, or
No idea.
you just decided to watch it?
Yeah.
Were you surprised by the Motley Crue?
Not at all.
No.
It was sort of rock stars, so.
Yeah. Yeah, they were big. They were big for a while. Motley Crue. Yeah, I haven't watched that, but I can imagine they probably had a couple of problems along the way, unfortunately for them. Anybody else biography? Taylor in the back, what do you got?
The Professor and the Madman.
The Professor and the Madman, a tale of what?
A tale of murder, insanity, and the making of the Oxford English Dictionary. It's the one for the...
Oh, it's the one for this class. It's your biography. It's your book for this class. That's a book. What are you thinking?
It was good.
Good book.
Yes.
So are you thinking that most professors are madmen?
No, this guy was crazy. He decided to cut his own member off because...
Whoa, hold on. Wait a minute. That took a turn.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can tell us why.
Oh, because... So he apparently had a really bad lust problem for most of his life, and then he had like a sudden, opposition to Christianity, and so he felt that that was kind of like
So if thy eye offend thee, pluck it out?
pretty much.
Except not the eye. Okay.
So yeah, he was crazy.
And what did he teach?
And he was in an insane asylum.
Oh, I thought he was a professor.
No, the other guy was a professor. He was a medical doctor in the Civil War, and then he was at the Battle of the Wilderness.
Okay.
And at one point, he had to brand someone on the face for deserting, and I guess that really messed with him.
They branded his face.
He had to brand someone and put it like a giant D.
Oh, he had to brand them
Yes, he had to.
as D for deserter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So eventually, he ended up.
He thought it was like branding for, social media.
I'm gonna get a lot of likes for this.
I am an influencer.
No, this is for this class. Oh wow.
Yeah, it's for this class. It was one of the choices in biography was a book.
Wow.
And he chose it. And he liked the book.
Pretty interesting. There's also a large print edition, so it made it feel like I was going through it faster.
That's good. Where did you find a large print edition of that book? Okay. You did, okay. eBay.
I didn't mean to buy a large print. I got it.
But it makes you feel better, right?
I did.
Yeah.
I got through
Easier on the eyes, and you feel like you're really zipping through the book with a large print. And how does the Oxford Dictionary come into it?
So there's another guy, Professor James Murray, who he's the director of the whatever
Crazy people?
thing, to make the Oxford English.
Okay.
And it had already been 20 some odd years since the project started.
Right.
And so he was asking for volunteers to look up words in English, books of English language. And they had, of course, every single word they had to define, every single instance of that being used, give an example from English written work.
Right.
One of the guys who managed to find this little paper, even though he was in an insane asylum, was this other crazy.
The guy with the operation.
Exactly. And so he worked on several thousand words.
While he was in the insane asylum.
Yeah, he was in there for over 40 years.
Well, he had some time on his hands.
He did. He had too much time.
It's a sad story. So I hope it has a happy ending. It has a happy ending, right? He gets out and he...
He has 1 year of life outside of the insane asylum, going back to Connecticut, died there in obscurity, and he has a small gravestone in a slum.
That's very sad. That's why I'm laughing. That's terrible. So he was a doctor in the Civil War. He kind of went crazy. They locked him up for 40 years. He works on this dictionary. He gets out for a year. He goes back to Connecticut and he dies and is buried in a slum. Well, that's kind of that's going to make a feel-good movie of the summer. If we make that one into a movie, I think that would be an interesting movie, though.
It is a movie.
It is a movie already? Mel Gibson? When was this movie out? I didn't see this one.
Like 2 or 3 years ago.
I didn't hear
He
him.
plays the crazy guy.
He plays a crazy guy. Well, it's kind of typecasting, but that's good. Okay. All right, let's... Anybody else read or watched a biography recently? You've got one due on Sunday. So if you haven't yet, maybe you ought to think about it. Let me ask you this. If they made a biography of your life, who would play you in the film?
Matthew's probably not even alive right now.
What's that?
Matthew's probably not even alive right now.
It's a good point.
Yeah. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist yet.
You're not born.
Not born yet.
Oh, person. Yeah, but let's say if it was somebody currently alive, who would it be that you would want to play you in a film?
Why would you even bring that up?
Taylor, who would play you in a film?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna pass on that one.
Mel Gibson? Mel Gibson?
Anyone would take that role.
No one would take the role? Anybody got an idea who you'd want to play you in a film, or who you think would play? Who would make a good you? No, nobody.
Any actor could make a great.
Any actor? Like you want Denzel? Would Denzel play you? No, not Denzel. He's saying no.
What else?
Maybe I should ask. Maybe I should ask this in a different way. Look to the person around you and tell me which actor should play them instead of yourself.
For Taylor, it'll be
For Taylor, who would it be for Taylor?
Timothy. What's his name? Timothy.
Chalamet.
Chalamet. I think he'll make a great.
Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey. Well, there's perhaps something to it. Hey, we don't want to just pick on Taylor. Who else could we pick on? Nobody has any ideas? No? All right, well, would the movie about you be a comedy? Would it be a drama? Would it be a thriller? Would it be a tragedy? Would it be a romance? Would it be an adventure story?
It'll be a comedy.
It would be a comedy.
Yeah.
Comedy. Kind of like Coming to America was a comedy. But you would be like Coming to Lakeland.
Which is super boring.
It's like follow you around and you go to the dorm and whatever.
Oh, it's so sad.
What do you think? You don't like to dream. There's no dreamers in the room.
I mean,
You might say I'm a
people
dreamer.
lives are boring,
Yeah.
especially Southeast.
I'm super. Just a chronicle of watching all the favorite places in Lakeland close.
Your favorite places in Lakeland close?
They close and then something else goes in. It's not as good.
What is closed that you like?
What was it called?
You like restaurants or
Yeah.
you talking like Burger King or
No, it was like the cookie place.
the cooking
Yeah, it
place?
was a place that just like sold cookies and ice cream and it
Crumb
got
and Get It.
replaced.
Yeah.
Yeah, Crumb and Get It, that's what it's called.
Crumb and Get It.
Was
Where
on
was
South Florida.
this?
It's on South Florida across from the Publix.
Did they replace it with a
Really?
cookie shop?
Next to the old Kmart?
There hasn't been a Kmart there in a really long time, so I don't know.
There was a really good wing spot on Massachusetts, Hot and Box. That place was really good. They shut down. But
So-
also,
or
I was
sorry.
told they were laundering money.
So our
So
so our biography would just be like you would be going into this place and you like it, and then you would drive back there to go there again and it would be closed, and then that would be it, and we just have the music,
then she just cried.
Scroll the credits.
and then you would cry and no, why, and then that's it.
That's it.
Yeah, I don't know I don't know if we got much of a movie there.
Don't have much funding yet.
Okay. I think for me it would be a tragedy, and I would play myself. I would play myself.
In this town, you guys play yourself.
I would play myself. Anybody who would play me is already dead. They're already dead, so I'd have to play myself. Yes.
Why would it be a tragedy?
Yeah. See, now we don't want to go. That's too sad. It's too sad of a story.
I think Bill Murray would do a good job.
Bill Murray. Yeah. No, I've always liked Bill Murray. Yeah, I would like Bill Murray. That would be good. Yeah. Sure. Okay. Bill Murray. Bill Murray, though, he doesn't even have a telephone. I mean, you can't get in touch with Bill Murray. He would just have to decide he wanted to do it. And certainly after he met me, then he would say no. No, he would say, of course. Bill Murray. I've been a big fan of Bill Murray for a long time.
Have you seen Parks and Rec?
Yes, I have.
When he plays the mayor in Parks and Rec. He's
Bill
in, like,
Murray?
He's in like 3 episodes, and
I guess he was, wasn't he?
he's
Yeah.
dead, and he said that I was watching an interview with them, and they were talking about when Bill Murray was like on set.
Yeah.
They were like, "Hey Bill, like we know we talk about like you having some lines, but like you're just gonna sit in this coffin." And he was like, "Sweet." And he like didn't talk to anyone, just sat in that coffin, and just like
Yeah.
everyone thought it was super weird. And then
Well-
and then he just like joked around with everyone. But like he was like so excited to just like sit in a coffin for like 2 hours.
Bill Murray, I guess, on the scale of strangeness would be pretty far to the
Strange.
whichever side is strange, yeah, left or right. Yes?
According to one of my roommates, not in this classroom,
Not in this classroom.
you have a very similar voice to John Wayne, just higher pitched.
I have a similar voice to John Wayne,
Yes.
but higher pitched.
So not so.
Hey, Pilgrim. I don't know. Okay, I've never heard that before. I have heard that my voice sounded like other things that I won't repeat here because it might catch on. Okay, in biographies, they sometimes use composite characters. So this is something you got to watch for, especially in film. What do we mean by a composite character?
Is that when they pull a bunch of different characters together and make them one?
Yes, yeah, that's it, exactly. Yeah, they put, well, for example, I was thinking about what's the Patriot, what's the one with the race with the bombers at the race in Boston? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, the Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, that was a composite character. I know that. He was composite of, I don't know, several people and maybe even some fake people. Because, they wanted to have, why would they want that? Why would you want to put in a composite in a film? Maybe even in a book, I don't know, but sure in a film. What's the advantage of having a composite character? A good storyline. Yeah. That's kind of what it was for that film. I don't know why I can't think of the name of that. Boston Marathon Massacre movie, but that's not what they called it. I thought it had Patriot in it.
It was like Patriots Day or something.
Patriots Day? Yeah, I think that was it. There I think they said, and what I read, they wanted to have a character that would tie the whole story together. And there wasn't sort of one person that could tie it all together. I guess unless you take the bomber guys, and they didn't want to go that way. So somebody would have been at the race, and somebody would have been involved in the investigation, and somebody would have been there for the arrests and all that stuff. So they made a composite character, somebody who was just happy. He was a detective who got assigned, I think is the way, I haven't seen it in a while, but he gets assigned to work the race kind of at the last minute because there's, we need extra security. So he goes. It's not his normal kind of thing that he does. And then this happens. And then he gets on the case. And he starts trying to figure it out with other people. And then he is actually there when they make arrests and so forth. So you follow this one character through the whole storyline. They thought it would make a better story because you kind of have, not that he's necessarily the narrator, but you have a point of view, right? This one guy's, I forgot his name, but I thought it was a good movie, yeah.
Isn't that kind of like what Forrest Gump did?
Forrest Gump. You mean like just following Forrest Gump around?
Yeah, but it was more or less a timeline of like the history from like how he went through Vietnam War.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, I don't know if Forrest was actually a real, well, he was sort of based on a real guy. Yeah, he was based on, but I don't think, if you read the book, I don't know if you've seen the movie, probably most of you, have you seen the movie Forrest Gump? Most people have seen it, a lot of people have seen it. If you read the book, it's completely different. I don't know how they got the movie from the book. It's very, very different. Because Forrest Gump is not at all a nice guy in the book.
Oh.
You would think, because I remember I watched the movie and I happened to be in a place, I was kind of stuck in a place for a weekend, and they had the book, Forrest Gump, by Winston, I forgot his last name. Anyway, so I thought, well, okay, I'll start reading this book, because, I always thought the movie was kind of neat, see what it's like, read the book. I read the book and it was like, no, he's kind of a jerk. Forrest Gump was kind of a I mean, he did go to Vietnam and he did do some, but most of that story was just completely different. You know, this whole thing about him running and it's really, if you read the book and like if you compared the book to the movie, it's huge difference. So Winston Grooms or something like that is the guy's name that wrote the book, I think. Winston Grooms. And so he made a lot of money off of that, but he was never, I heard him interviewed once, he was not very happy with what they did with the film because it was not really what he had written. But he was probably happy to cash the checks. So yeah, you got to make it into a story, and a composite character allows you to do that. Also, here's another thing, think about this. You know, if you have a book, you could have a whole lot of characters in a book. You know, like you could have, I don't know, you could have 50 characters in a book, a novel or something. But if you start making a movie with that many people in it, it's going to get very confusing to people. Plus, you've only got like 2 hours for most films, right? 2.5 hours maybe. If you make a 3-hour movie, most people, they think that's too long. So that means you got between 1.5 hours and 2.5 hours to make this film. And if you start putting 40, 50 characters in there, it just gets too, you know, it's like you're introducing this person, they'd say this, and then they leave. So it's better to have, I don't know, 5 or 6 characters, and less than 10 probably, if you really want the thing to flow. So I think that's why composite characters are there. Make the story, perhaps change the storyline and make it better. Also, just for the sake of time. You know, a person who writes a novel or a book, they can write another page. They can write another chapter. It doesn't really cost anything, right? If you add 30 minutes to a film, it costs millions of dollars. You know, I mean, it does. So you've got to pare it down. Okay. Let's go to this then. We kind of already went to this. Isn't this it? This is for this week. It's the documentary is due, right? So I thought we'd talk about your documentaries a bit. Documentaries. How about Supersize Me? What is that about? How do you like that?
It's about this guy, because apparently back in the day.
In the day? You mean like the 1990s?
That's back in the day for me.
Okay.
You used to be able to.
That was 30 years ago.
Yeah.
What's that?
That was 30 years ago, to be fair.
1990? Well, yeah, I suppose 19. I think it was. Yeah, probably 95 or something. I don't know when his book was. Maybe late 90s. But yeah, go ahead.
You used to be able to supersize meals, like they're like larger than large.
Oh, I supersized, man. I used to always supersize. It was a great deal.
Yeah.
This guy wrecked my good deal. That's what I got out of it. Go ahead.
They stopped doing that option, because I remember growing up, they would have that option still.
Really?
So,
I don't think they do it. I think they stopped. They didn't stop?
no, not anymore, but.
Yeah, they stopped it.
They stopped offering it.
They stopped it as a result of this. They stopped it as a result of this. This is why you don't have it
The
anymore.
movie was 2004.
2004, okay.
Supersize.
What's that? What is it?
More than hard.
Yeah.
Like it was at McDonald's. You'd go to McDonald's and you would order like let's say a Big Mac combo, right? Big Mac combo. You get a drink and you get a fry and you get a Big Mac. And then they would say, do you want to supersize it? And it would be something like 40 cents, 50 cents. And if you supersized it, they gave you, instead of a medium drink, they gave you the large drink. And instead of a medium fry, they gave you the large fry.
Well, they still do that. No, I think it was
No, it was-
bigger than
Yeah, it was
large.
bigger than large. It was.
Right? Okay,
Yeah,
you
it
know
was-
better than
I
Super.
don't know.
I think it was bigger than large.
Yeah, it was. No, it was
Bigger. Well, yeah. Well, then what?
It was big.
It was big. It was a lot of fries.
Yeah, like.
But it was like, it wasn't much more.
It was like the size of a cup that you would fill with drinks and full of fries.
It was a big, I know it was 32 ounce or 28 ounces of drink. And then you would get, well, that's what a lot of people would do, actually. You would go into McDonald's one person would just order a sandwich, the other person would get the deal and supersize it, and then you would share the drink and the fries. That's what people used to
You
do.
know what's funny about this?
What's that?
After the documentary, they like killed the supersized because people were so like conscious. But like, if you look at like the sizes of larges from
Right.
back then and now, I think the cups are almost the same size now. 'Cause one
Yeah, I
large
think-
is like,
Yeah, what happens, what has really happened now is that they have taken what would be the supersize and just make it large. And then the one that was large, they've made medium, and the one that's medium, they made small. Or whatever, they've changed the sizes, maybe a little bit smaller, but they're pretty close. Because when I go in there, it doesn't look a whole lot different if you get a large. Anyway, that guy, by the way, was from West Virginia. The guy that did that. And you know what the story is? He decided that he would go and eat at, of course, he would eat at McDonald's every day, all of his meals for like a month, or I don't know. And if they ask him if he want, because they were always supposed to ask, do you want this, you want to supersize it? That's what they would say. You'd be at the cash register, you say, okay, I'll have the Big Mac meal, and then they'll say, would you like to supersize that? If they asked that, he always said yes. So it was never that he asked. Basically, it was all kind of a setup, And then he said that was all he was going to eat for a month. He was going to go there and eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner at McDonald's for a month. And if they asked to be supersized, he would do it.
He didn't make it enough.
Like his health started.
Yeah, well, he gained a lot of weight. His triglycerides went up because he's eating the same. He's eating this stuff every day, every meal. Anyway, that was his point. And then he made a documentary film. He also made a book about it, a little small book, I think, too. And so it was really the first sort of attack, I guess you might say, at least noticeable attack on McDonald's especially, but any fast food, because McDonald's was the biggest one, and so he went after them. And I think since then, McDonald's, of course, has declined somewhat. I mean, there's still millions of them. But, right, that's supersize. Taylor did Man on a Wire. That's about the guy who's the son of the guy who beat you up, right?
Well, I was just thinking about that last night. I was going to bed and I thought, I went to middle school with Nick Melenda's son.
Right.
Yeah.
But this is about him, right?
No, it's about some French guy named John.
Oh. I was hoping it was about the guy, the father of the guy who beat you up in school.
No, but I wasn't thinking about that.
Yeah. Well, I figured you would. That's why I brought it up. It never hurts to bring up good stuff. Wow. Well, okay, we'll end it there. You'll have to ask Taylor more about that story because we're out of time.